All right, let's go over the even problems for the 9-2 homework. Problem 10, determine whether the sequence is arithmetic. So to do that, we're going to look at how much do we change going from the first number to the second number, -1/2. How much do we change going from the second to the third number, -1/2, and so on and so forth. Each change here is consistent. It stays the same. So we're going to say yes, this is arithmetic. And since it's arithmetic, they want us to find the common difference. So we're going to say D, and the common difference is this amount here. How much are we changing each time? So D is -1/2. 20, let's find the first 5 terms. We're going to plug in 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 for n. So A1, let's get the answer column set up here. If I plug in 1, we'll have 2 to the 1 minus 1, which is 2 to the 0, which is 1. If I plug in 2, we'll have 2 to the 2 minus 1, which is 2 to the first, which is 2. If I plug in 3, we'll have 3 minus 1, which is 2 squared. I think we can see the pattern here. This is 4, so the next one's going to be 2 cubed, which is 8. And the next one's going to be 2 to the 4th, which is 16. So our first 5 terms are 1, 2, 4, 8, and 16. All right? So once we've done that, let's determine whether this is arithmetic. The jump from 1 to 2 is 1. From 2 to 4 is 2. So right away, these numbers are not the same. So this is not arithmetic. Have to have the same difference between each of the 2 terms. All right, 30. Find a formula A sub n for this. We know A1 and we know A5. All right, our formula for A sub n that we learned is A sub 1 plus n minus 1 d. So we need to know a few things here. Well, we know A to the first is -4, so we can put that in. Plus, n's going to still be a variable, -1. We need to know d. We don't know d, so let's figure this out. We're going to use, it's very similar to the slope-intercept, 16 minus -4. From the end, going back to the beginning, we have a change of 20. And how many steps did it take to accomplish that change? Well, 5 minus 1. From the 5th spot to the 1st spot is 4. If we divide those two, we get a step of 5. So our D is 5. It's how much do we change and how many steps did it take to make that change. So plug in 5 for D. And now let's clean this up. -4 plus 5n minus 5. Just distributing in the 5 here. And we'll clean this up for 5n minus 9. -4 and -5. 40, write the first 5 terms of the arithmetic sequence. All right, we know that it's arithmetic here. So we're going to have to do the same thing here. We're going to back this up. We've got to figure out what D is first. So D will be -1.7 minus 19 over 15 minus 3. We're taking the answers and dividing them by how many steps it took to do that. So -1.7 minus 19 is going to be -20.7 over 12. Let's flip over to the calculator and do that. -20.7 over 12. -1.725. So that's our D, and now we can figure out our A sub 1 by using our AN formula. So here's our original formula. D. All right, so we can plug either of these things in. I'm going to plug in this one just because I don't want to deal with the decimal, the 1.7. So A sub 3 is 19. We want to figure out A sub 1. We don't know yet. Plus, the n is going to be 3 from right here. We're pulling out which term it is. And we figured out that D is negative 1.725. So let's figure this out, clean it up. 19 equals a sub 1 plus, this is 2, and 2 times negative 1.725 is going to be negative, too early, 3.45. So we'll add it over to the other side and get 22.45 for A1. And from there, we can get the rest of it. Or we could, we'll just do it by hand here. Let's subtract negative 1.725 all the way across. So we can start here with 22.45. And we're going to minus 1.725 4 more times. So we'll end up with 20.725 for A2. Then 19. Then 17.275. And lastly, 15.55. If I were going to do any more than 5 terms, substantially more, I would definitely go into the Y1, set it up, and then go into the table to spit these answers out. But it probably would have taken just as long to do that as to hit it 5 times in here and get our 5 answers. All right, let's keep going here. Problem 50. Let's see, the first 2 terms of the arithmetic sequence are given. Find the missing term. All right, so first thing to do is figure out what our step is. So we're going to say negative 13.8 minus negative 0.7 over 2 minus 1 equals, let's see here, that's going to be a plus onto that, so negative 13.1 over 1. So our D is negative 13.1. And so now we want to find a sub 8. So let's use our formula. A sub 8 equals a sub 1, which we know to be negative 0.7, plus n, which is 8 minus 1, and then plug in our d, negative 13.1. So a sub 8 equals negative 0.7 plus 7 times negative 13.1. And let's go ahead and plug this in. 0.7 plus 7 times negative 13.1. And negative 92.4 would be our answer. On we go to 60. Find the indicated nth partial sum of the arithmetic sequence. All right, so we're trying to find the sum of the first 50 terms here. And it only lists out the first 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. But we can figure out what these are all going to be here. We need to know the first term and we need to know the last term. Remember, our formula for the sum is going to be n over 2. A1 plus a n. So we know a lot of things here. The sum of 50 terms is going to be 50 over 2. The first term is negative 6. Don't know the last term yet, so we're going to have to figure this out, and we'll come back in here. This would be a sub 50. So what's the 50th term here? So we're going to have to figure it out. So let's go back into our formula. We can figure this out. A sub 50 equals the first term, negative 6, plus n minus 1, which is 49, times d. What's our difference here? We're counting up by 4. We're increasing by 4 each time. So this is going to be negative 6 plus 49 times 4. 49 times 4 is 196. 50 times 4 is 200. So 4 less than 200. And so put those together, we get 190, which we can throw in here for a sub 50. So the sum of the first 50 terms is going to be 25 times negative 6 plus 190. And so let's put those together and we'll get 184. And so whatever 25 times 184 is, let's see. And 4,600 would be our answer for 60. All right, 70, find the partial sum here from 51 to 100 of 7n. So sum of n, we use our formula again. Now we know this is arithmetic because it's counting by sevens here. This 7 times n is going to be arithmetic. This is, if we plugged in 1, we'd get 7. If we plugged in 2, we'd get 14, then 21, then 28. Okay, so we know this is arithmetic. So we can use our formula of n over 2, a1 plus an. So let's substitute some things in. We need to know the sum of, this is actually going to be 50 terms. Okay. From 51 to 100 is 50 terms. So we need to know 50 over 2. The first term, so let's plug in 51. 7 times 51. 357. Plus, we need to know the last term. What happens if we plug in 100? 7 times 100 is 700. So let's clean this up. 25 times 1057. Have to go to the calculator on that one. 25 times 1057. 26,425. So that's how you do it using the formula. We could plug this into our calculators as well to find the summation. Make sure you do know how to use the S sub n formula. You'll be asked to do this by hand and not just on your calculator for the tests and quizzes. All right, 80. Use a graphing calculator to graph the first 10 terms of this sequence. Assume that we start with 1. Okay, so we're going to plug these in, and real quick I'm just going to do this with a t-table. So n, a sub n, we're going to do the first 10 terms. Okay, so we can go to our graphing calculator and plug this in. Negative 5 plus 2n is our y. Negative 5 plus 2, we'll use x here. And we want to use our table. We're going to start with 1 and count by 1. That's already set up to do that. So let's go to our table. And so we'll go negative 3, negative 1, 13579. Counting by 2's here. All right. And so if we were to graph this, it would look like this. 1 and negative 3. And then we're jumping up by 2 each time. Okay. And so these would just be the dots. It's not a connected line because we're just plugging in whole numbers for n. Okay, so you don't get to connect the dots here. On we go to 90. Consider a job offer with the given starting salary and a given annual raise. All right, so we start with $36,800 as our salary, and the annual raise is $1,750. Determine the salary during the 6th year of employment. Okay, so on this one, this is the same thing as slope-intercept, but we can use our a sub n formulas. So in the 6th year, we want to know our salary. Well, we need to know our salary in the 1st year, plus 6 minus 1. And then we need to know the difference. Well, we're being given a raise of $1,750 each year. We substitute in A1, which is $36,800. And so $36,800 plus 5 times $1,750. So $45,550 is what we're making in the 6th year. And part B, determine the total compensation from the company through 6 full years of employment. So now we're talking about a summation for those 6 years. And so our formula here would be 6 over 2. First term is 36,800. The last term, what did we say we got? 45,550. So let's add those two things together. I'm going to add 36,800 on and get 82,000, and I'm going to times it by 6 over 2 times it by 3. So over those 6 years, we would have made $247,050. All right, 100. We sell $15,000 worth of sports memorabilia during a year and set a goal of increasing annual sales by $5,000 each year for 9 years. Assuming we meet our goal, find the total sales during the first 10 years of business, and then we'll talk about what kind of economic factors could prevent this business from meeting its goals. So the sum for 10 years, because we're going to start and then increase for 9 more years, is going to be 10 over 2. First year is 15,000 plus the amount in the 10th year. Let's figure that out here. So A sub 1 is 15,000 plus 10 minus 1, 9 more years of $5,000 increases. So 9 times 5 is 45,000 plus 15,000 is 60,000. Down to the next line here, and get 5 times 75,000. And 5 times 75,000 is $375,000. So that's how much we would have sold in sports memorabilia over 10 years. And of course, there's many economic factors that could prevent this business from meeting its goals. Everything from a shrinking annual economy or to just a shift in the general trend of people buying sports memorabilia. Maybe you have a low year for sports one year and people don't want to buy it. Lots of different things could factor in there. And that'll do it. All right, so that's it for your 9-2 homework. Any other questions? Come talk to me in class.